Welcome to the Dallas Show, the podcast, where we took the Dallas Show and made it a podcast. My name is Dallas, and today's guest is Hannah Yankasky, a wonderful comedian and sketch artiste from Columbus. Hannah has a lot of opinions on love game shows, so we kind of dove into the world of game shows and love, and throughout history from the 60s to now, from the dating game to Love is Blind. It was a great time to kind of figure out what was going on and why people liked these shows so much. And we also learned some things along the way. So this is the Dallas Show with Hannah Yankasky.
Hello.
Hello? Are you open? Well, you might not be. If you are, could you give me a call? And I was like, I'm about to call you on a Tuesday at 8 a.m. and be like, hi, Rita.
We weren't open.
We were not open. Can I place an order for you? Son of a bitch. Well, Hannah, let's put a pin in that. Welcome to the Dallas Show, the podcast, where we took the Dallas Show and just turned it into a podcast. Isn't
Smart.
it exciting?
So exciting.
There's this. Have you ever heard of a podcast?
I think so.
They're up and coming. I love it. It's like I realized I'm really good at jumping on the trend of like, I'm gonna write a blog. Blogs have been around forever. I'm going to do a YouTube video series. I'm like 10 years too late. Let's do a podcast. I'm a guy with opinions. 3 years too late. Let's get into it. So, Hannah, the reason I brought you here today, you drove yourself, was we're going to talk a little bit about game shows.
Ooh,
we're doing
spicy.
a little series on game shows. We're going to talk about love game shows today, but we're doing some other game shows with some other people. But before we get into that, did you hear about this gender reveal fire?
Did I? It's almost like the straights are just relentless these days.
It's a boy, also by California. Just catch it all on fire. Oh, those poor people.
R.I.P. Did anyone die in that?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's still happening.
Right.
I did read they can't press criminal charges until the fire's out, but they're being considered. How scary would that be?
And there were two different fires.
I just wanted to know what my baby would be. You knew what it was. You could have just, whatever. We're here to talk about game shows. Let's talk about love, shall we? So, Hannah, what is your favorite love game show?
Well, I'm going to go old school because there's so many dating shows out now that I really can't keep up with them. So I'm going to go with Next on MTV. Or no, Room Raiders.
I don't know what Room Raiders is.
It was a really trashy MTV dating show.
I forgot about Next. We've talked about Next.
I think so, yeah.
And I forget about it. I didn't put it on this list. Yeah, when they would just open the door and be like, nope, Next. Be like, nope. I flew all the way out here. Don't care. Bye.
You're wearing orange and I hate that color. Fuck off.
You're tacky and I hate you. Next.
Yep.
Oh, so good. But yeah, that was early 2000s? It feels like. It feels very, because it was it MTV? Did you say that?
Yeah, it was MTV.
Because it feels like it was like Jackass, that kind of era of all those shows. Next.
Filling my mind with garbage.
Oh, they should do that now. It's just Tinder. Now it's just Tinder. They made it an app. Okay.
Yep.
Next. So we're going to talk about a couple games. We're going to start old school, super old school, like the 60s. We're going to move into what 2020 has to offer for that. Shaking your head no is right. So we're going to start with the Newlywed Game, which was, it started in 1985. That's not correct. Wikipedia, why are you lying to me? Hold on.
It's definitely the 60s because I didn't even look up what this game was.
The Newlywed Game. Oh, okay. It was in 1966. It was also known as the Newlywed Game in the 80s. I'm super prepared for this. So the Newlywed Game, you know what the Newlywed... You said this is the one you didn't know what it was?
Yeah, I had to look up some clips.
But you probably recognized it from... I mean, they do it in like bits and stuff all the time where it's... Look at these married people. They don't know anything about each other. But it's because they're newlyweds. And some of them probably met like 3 months ago. Yep. So we'll get to that game show later. But... So yeah, what'd you think of the Newlywed Game?
So I couldn't really get past that they kept calling sex whoopee the whole time.
Yeah.
That really distracted me.
Like it's the 60s. They're like, whoopee. They had to do finger guns while they did it.
Whoopee.
Whoopee.
Yeah, it was also really, it's hard to watch that now comparing it to game shows that are currently on, because they actually know more about each other than I feel like the game shows are now. They're like, you just got one glimpse of them. And in these, they're married, but they still act like they don't know that much about each other.
Yeah.
So I was like...
Or they're like really specific situations where it's like, I don't know what he would think. What article of clothing of mine does he hate the most? I don't know. A shirt. And it's like, well, he said socks, you idiot. Like, okay, now I know that for the future.
I saw one. So I was watching some clips and two really stuck out to me. One was, they said, how many times do you think your husband has had sex in his life? And how many of those times were with you? And this girl was just like, well, she was like, all the times were with me. And he agreed with that. But they're trying to come up with like a number. And she's like, 3,000. And he's like, I've only known you for 3 years. And she's like, I don't know. And then he said 200. And she was like, well, we fuck every day. I guess that's what she said. It did a big beep and it said oops. So it could have been make love. I don't know what they bleeped out in the 60s.
We make whoopee every day. No, so it's obviously it was a hit because it's this idea of people who are already married just trying to learn more about each other, but the host just making them look like fools the whole time. How many times have you had sex, Maureen? Tell me. Tell
your mom. She's watching too.
Tell your mom, you whore. But it's also, it says, it also led to some divorces as well.
Oh, really?
Well, because if you think about it, like if you were made to look like a fool on TV,
that's true.
That would be an argument that would just, some people probably couldn't let go.
I could see that.
Like, could you imagine if you were like, yes, Seth, I'll do the dishes, but you made me look like a fool. Remember how you said you hated my socks? Remember? On TV? Interesting.
Those were my favorite socks. You know that.
But I'll do the dishes. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But that for like 50 years.
I could see that. I've heard of people get divorced over more dumb reasons.
That's true. It wasn't just the Newlywed Game. So kind of graduating from the Newlywed Game, we're going to get into, which one did I have next? This one was in the 90s, 80s. That's the 80s too. Oh, so this one was also in the 60s, first aired in December of 65. This is The Dating Game.
Okay.
So I had never really watched The Dating Game.
I don't think I know
so
what that is.
The Dating Game is another one where it's like a lot of, you will recognize it. It's where they have one person on one side of a wall.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Bachelor number one. It's from Whose Line, you heard? But it's that scenario where, you know, they're like, Bachelor number one. If I were an ice cream, what would I be? And they're like, I just want to fuck. So rum raisin. And so they kind of just go, and then at the end they pick one and they do it. RuPaul's Drag Race does it sometimes on the Snatch Game of Love or the Snatch Game at Sea, some bullshit.
I have seen that.
But I never really watched this show until we did the Mad Lab show where we were doing was it Sketchy Pitches? It was the feminist or the important women one, the sketch show where we did the dating game, because do you know who Rodney Alcala is?
No.
Okay. So he was a serial killer.
Oh.
But he's famous. I mean, he's famous because he murdered a lot of people. He was awful and terrifying. But he was on the dating game, like on TV, and won. Like, she picked him to go on a date. And then she, like, after she met him face to face, she was like, no, thank you. I don't like him. Ew. And they were like, that's weird. Whatever. Come to find out, he just, like, killed a bunch of people. So that's what I know about the dating game. So, like, what could go wrong in the 60s? Everything. but kind of transitioning into, we're getting a little more recent. We're going to take a pit stop in the 80s. Did you ever watch Love Connection? This is one that I have heard of, and my grandma used to watch it, but I didn't really remember it right. I didn't really remember what it was. So this one was, it took place in front of an audience, but it was people watching videos. It was like a girl, and then 3 guys would submit videos and be like, here's why I'm a cool dude. At least I think I'm not confusing this with a different show, but they watched these videos, and then it was like, oh, they would pick, and then the studio audience would vote on which one they thought she should get, or vice versa.
It's like America's Funniest Home Video style show.
Could you, America's Funniest Home Video, but with your future. But
if it's not Tom Bergeron, I don't want it. I don't want him.
Bergeron, who was just on The Masked Singer as a taco. Sorry, spoilers. He was the taco. Incredible. He's also not the judge of Dancing with the Stars anymore.
Yeah, he got
Is
fired.
it Tyra Banks?
It is.
She's doing everything. You want to be on top? Watch America's Next Top Model on Hulu. Hulu? Amazon Prime.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Have you ever seen it? We're talking about love. Stop distracting me. So yeah, the Love Connection. That was another one that was pretty popular with. It's just fun. Imagine. So this was I said the 80s. It's the 90s.
Woo!
What is happening? Oh, it was from 83 to 94, but it was videos from 83 to 94. So imagine those videos where it's like super grainy. Hi there, my name is Steve, and I'm alone. And then the shithead audience is like, give her number 3. Pick number 3. That guy only had 3 teeth. We have to pick him. And then they had to go on a date, I'm assuming. But they could also say no. Like after a date, they could choose whether or not they wanted to keep dating.
Oh, okay.
So that one was fun. So those 3 kind of set the scene, I think, in my opinion. I'm not studied on this, of like where love game shows tended to go. On other episodes, we're talking about like studio game shows, quiz shows, food shows. So those like a whole different realm. But with the love one specifically, we also have like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, where it's this idea. It's not so much the newlywed game was taking people who are already married and kind of getting them to like each other more, if that was the case. But then there was the show where it was, let's try to make marriages happen.
Yes.
So that's what kind of, I think, propelled the love thing was. Let's see what happened. Like, did you ever watch A Shot of Love?
Yes.
With Tequila?
Yes, I did.
That's all we need to know. I remember that TV show being like, wow, art. But as we got into like The Bachelor and Bachelorette, it was the same kind of premise where it was just, could you ever imagine being cattle called into a marriage? Where it's like, here's the deal. You're a girl. We know this. You're going to go with 25 other girls who hate you, by the way. And you're going to date the same guy for weeks, sometimes at the same time. And then he gets to pick if he likes you. Doesn't that sound like a nightmare?
That does sound like a nightmare. Like, I've never been like, man, that guy having sex with other girls, so attractive.
That's my husband.
Or The Bachelorette. It's like, hey, you know how you're terrified to be the only woman in a room with just men? We're going to do it as a show, but you're going to act like it's not weird now. Well, leave that rape whistle at home.
They also, it's crazy to me that they'll take, I didn't realize, so at least for the first few seasons, the Bachelorette was the girl who lost on The Bachelor.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know that experience? Now it's your turn, sweetie. Now we're going to put you in a room full of men. By the way, they all want to fuck you. They won't say it. There's like 3 virgins. They still want to fuck you. Like, it's fine. It's fine.
They all the same haircut. It's going to be really hard to tell them apart.
They are all named Derek. We have Derek. Derek, Adam, Chad. There's 30 dudes. Take your pick. They all have brown hair, except for the blonde. That's other Derek. But yeah, and then just giving one person all this power. But then it even gets to the point where they're talking about, like, oh, it's down to these two girls. I don't know which one to pick. I'm going to meet their families. And I was like, but what do you do if the one that you pick, your mom's like, I didn't like her. I liked the other one better. And he was like, I know, but she was 3 inches shorter. It's just, it's crazy to me. And then by the time you get there, you're like, I won. You. I'm exhausted. This was TV. It was hard. And then The Bachelor's been on for 20-something seasons. And The Bachelorette's been on for like 16. It's too many.
I remember being like in elementary school when these shows came on.
Yeah, and I never got into them because I was always like, the first episodes maybe are always fun because you're like, what is this? And then I'm trying to remember, is it Love Island? No, it's the spinoff
of The Bachelor?
Yeah. I have the internet, and this is editable.
I don't know.
1 second. Oh, The Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, okay.
It's which have you ever seen The Bachelor in Paradise? So my sister-in-law loves The Bachelor in Paradise, not the 1961 movie, but the TV series. And what it is, it's contenders from The Bachelor and The Bachelorette get a second chance at love as they explore new relationships in an isolated Mexican locale. So they're like, we're going to put you on an island and we're going to need you to not fuck each other or do. It's totally up to you.
So there's lots of bachelors and lots of bachelorettes. It's not like 1v1.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a whole, they were like,
it's a college dorm.
Exactly. That's all it is. I'm on their website right now. Why is there a website? But I believe if I have this correct, I believe people can get like kicked off.
Ooh.
Like, and then they like, there's like like, I might be making this up. I'm going to say it anyway. I think it's like 10 guys and 9 girls, and they like partner, and then whoever loses, they like, if a girl gets kicked off, they bring in a guy. So then it's like,
it's like a sexual musical chairs.
Yes, everyone's dream. COVID. But yeah, COVID's ruining the world, but a bunch of people just fucking on an island. It's fine. But I think that's kind of where love shows kind of turn into the more reality aspect of like, we're not watching this. We're watching this to find the trash people.
Right.
Because, God, to be a casting person for like, I mean, it's ABC. It's not like Comedy Central or MTV. It's like you're a casting person for ABC and you're like, I got Dancing with the Stars, Carol Baskin, and Bachelor in Paradise. All those people who sucked that first time we talked to them. Like, and everyone is Southern, apparently.
I was wondering where.
Everyone. Hello, I am from CBS and ABC. I am from the South. That's my Nancy Grace voice. You know Nancy Grace, Top Mom,
of course.
Champagne Jamboree. What if Nancy Grace is in charge of ABC?
That would be on par.
Could you imagine? She lost Dancing with the Stars with a nip slip.
What?
She had a nip slip.
I missed that.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google.
My mom used to love Nancy Grace.
I almost just typed in Nancy Reagan nip slip, and that is not what I wanted. Nip.
I was Nancy Reagan in the 4th grade. I made my own.
Thanks, Nancy.
Say no to drugs sign.
Interesting. The U.S. Weekly. Nancy Grace has a nip slip on Dancing with the Stars.
Amazing.
What's love got to do with it? To quote, is that Tina Turner?
I don't know.
Is that Tina Turner?
What's love got to do?
That's Tina Turner.
Okay.
You sang it. I know what it is. What's love got to do? I was right. You're all welcome. Oh, God.
I know you're all dying at home.
So, speaking of people fucking on an island, let's move over to Too Hot to Handle.
Yes.
Did you watch this show?
Okay. I've been watching clips in preparation, and I'm going to admit I did not really know what this show was. Wow.
It is it is my favorite premise for an episode. So
It's good.
they take all of these, for those who don't know what this is, and if you still don't know what it is exactly, because at first I was like, this isn't a show. But what they do is they take really, quote, sexy people who have sex a lot. They're very promiscuous and don't make real relationships and connections. And they put them on an island. Now, the trick is they got people from all over the world. So they have like a cute British girl, and then they have like a really cute Irish girl. And then they have like an Australian guy, and they're all just like, oh, my accent, I love accent, oh, I love accent. And so you can't understand what they're saying half the time. But then they give them 12 hours on the island to start like getting to know each other. And of course they're all horny. So they're like, I don't know, I think I just want to kiss his face and lick his body. And so after they do that, it's after 12 hours, this little thing comes on. It's like a Siri. I think it's Lana. But
Yes.
Lana's like,
it's backwards for anal.
what?
That's what I was told.
What?
Via YouTube.
What?
Because she's a pain in the ass. That's what the trailer said. Also, the trailer for these are hilarious. Because I thought it was a horror show. Because it would be like, they can't have sex. And then you'd hear someone scream and like blood would shoot across the thing. And it's like, too hot to handle. I was like, are they burning in hell? Like, I don't know.
Well, in the
what
first
this
episode, there's
is.
even a thing where they're all sitting there and the thing lights up and goes, hello. And they're like, the one guy's like, is this the part in the movie where all the black people run away? Like, what's going to happen? But then she basically says, like, the whole point of it's a show that they signed on for, which they clearly did read the contract. But it's like, you aren't allowed to have sex or any heavy petting or any physical interaction or self-gratification for a month, which is a long time for no self-gratification, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As a guy. But it's funny. The best part's when they say this, and they all look like they're about to cry.
I know.
And they're like, what do we do? Like, what do we do?
Like, but my life.
As the one's like the girl's like sitting on his lap, and they're both just like, well, I don't know. I do. I'm not supposed to do if I can't have sex.
What, does anyone have sex in the first 12 hours before they know?
I don't think so. But I mean, they start like
I feel like I saw people making out and stuff. Okay.
Well, and have you seen a series on YouTube? It's called Queens Who Like to Watch.
No.
You know who Trixie Mattel is?
Yes.
Drag queen, and Katya. So they do a series with Netflix where they watch shows and just like comment on them.
Why didn't we get that job?
Oh, I know. We're drag queens. Give us work. But they talk about this show, and it's funny because they're just like, why is he touching her ass? He's like, did anybody bring suntan lotion? And he pulls like lotion out of his swim trunks, and it's like, you need to relax, sir. Also, she's just like, you could rub it on my ass. He's like, okay. So, but it's like in that first 12 hours, they're like leading up to like, this could be well, one guy even says like, sex party? Orgy? Would you have an orgy? The guy that looks like Jesus.
Yes.
Everyone shows up like no clothes, chiseled, and then there's a guy that shows up in like,
what
are they called?
I don't know.
Harem pants? Is that what they're
Yes,
called?
that's exactly what
like
they're
the
called.
Aladdin pants and like an oversized t-shirt and a beanie. And
You're on a beach, wearing a beanie.
it's 90 degrees, and he's just like, I just like it, man. I don't know.
It's just my vibe.
It's just my vibe.
His
And
name's
they're like,
Matt.
who's this guy? And I was like, that's the one they're all going to want to hang out with, because they're going to be like, he's so mysterious and he looks like Jesus. God. But then you never think they're going to be like that shitty until they cut to like their intro scene where the guy that looks like Jesus is just like, I'm just here to hang out, and he's from Colorado.
Yes.
And I was like, of course, the stoner Jesus. And then it cuts him, and he's just like, I don't know, monogamy's just like not my thing. I was like, oh, fuck off. Like, they found the guy, and then he's like, I've always joked about spreading my seed. I was like, fuck off. But of course, I think he's the one I like looked up. I think he gets kicked off.
Oh.
So, because it's not an elimination show.
Oh, okay.
To the best of my knowledge, I watched like an episode and a half and was like, I have to stop. But he ends up leaving.
Okay.
The one girl from Florida who was like, I'm in a sorority, left and got kicked out of her sorority.
For being on the show?
I don't know. I just like to pretend that it's because she was on the show.
I loved her, and like it wasn't her intro, but she was like, I just love so and so because he's from Australia and he's like so foreign, and like I don't even know where that is. And I was just like, what?
What's the one where she has a tattoo and she's like, they're like, what does it mean? And she's like, I don't know.
That was her, yeah.
That's her. And she's also like, yeah, we just like party a lot. Like one time a girl fell off the roof and broke her neck. Like she was fine, but like, yeah, it was crazy.
But she's paralyzed.
Like, you go, Brittany. She also left the show. But so I was looking up, like, so they get $100,000 if they don't fuck or touch each other for a month. And then every time they do, I wish they would just get kicked off the island. That'd be more fun. They just lose money from the pot. So by the end of it, I think there were 12 people to start, or maybe there was 10 people by the end.
Okay.
And it was a $75,000 pot. So they had diddled away $25,000. But then they got to split that, so they each got like $8,000. Well, after taxes,
okay,
like $5,000.
Okay.
Because that was the other thing. I was like, who gets it? The lone virgin. I was like, cut to me with coconuts riding off into the sunset, being like, I'll see you bitches later. I'm gonna go live in a tree for a month and win my money. Yes. Oh, so good. But yeah, I think that it's interesting that they did this. It was a Netflix series, so obviously they can do whatever they want, and it's not really censored in terms of like these people and what what they want to do and what their motives are. Yeah, because they're all just like, I'm gorgeous and I like to fuck. Or
that's my personality trait.
The guy who showed up, and I was like, that guy's name is not Sharon. His name was Sharon, but it's Sharro, and I was like, Sharon. It's Sharon, and he's the tiny black guy that's like, yo, I have a picture of me in my bathroom. I'll just say I have it next to an air freshener can, and then they cut to him spraying like a can of spray. I was like,
he's like Febrezing.
Can Netflix win Oscars? Like that, Sharon's gonna get an EGOT just from that performance.
I would be pissed if I was Febreze and I hadn't thought of that yet.
Oh, they're just like, damn it, we could have used this. The deodorant commercials beat us to it. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that one because that one came out in 2020. Yes. right after, because it was April, so right after COVID really like started taking effect. That's my you're talking too long board. We aren't. We're at 25 minutes.
Oh, okay.
He likes to draw me pictures to keep me calm. This is a 6-hour podcast. Welcome. Nice. We're going to talk about love. It's just we talk about the same thing for 2 hours, but we just start over once we get to the end. Okay. And sometimes he draws horse. So Too Hot to Handle, I thought it was, I had heard of it, and then when I actually watched it, I was like, I don't know that I could watch a whole season of this. It was too much to handle for Too Hot to Handle. But kind of moving on to the last TV show that I really wanted to get into, because this one I find super fascinating. This one is Love is Blind.
Yes.
So did you watch Love is Blind?
No, but, well, I've seen some of it, and now I want to watch it all.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
I honestly felt the way about Too Hot to Handle. I was like, it's sucking me in. It's like watching the Kardashians. You're like, I hate it, but I love
watching hot people do nothing. Or at least try. My favorite part of Love is Blind is that it's hosted by Nick Lachey and not Jessica Simpson.
Yes.
I want Jessica Simpson there.
Wait, isn't Nick Lachey and Alyssa Milano, are they married?
Alyssa Milano?
wait, who's the host? The girl?
Vanessa Lachey, his wife? Yeah, they're married. When they walked in and they were like, hi, my favorite's when she's like, hi, I'm Vanessa Lachey. And he goes, and I'm Nick Lachey, obviously. And I was like, what kind of 98 degrees bullshit? Like,
anyone under the age of 25 does not know who you are. So please introduce yourself.
I'm sorry. Were you on he might have been on Dancing with the Stars.
Probably.
Drew Lachey was probably on Dancing with the Stars. AJ from the Backstreet Boys is going to compete against Carol Baskin. 2020 is out of control. I was like, who do I know from this cast list? Of course, Carol Baskin, because why the fuck not? And I was like, AJ from the Backstreet Boys? I don't know his last name. It was there.
Which one's AJ?
AJ was the chin strap.
Okay.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Well, there was, can you name the Backstreet Boys?
Brian.
Uh-huh.
Nick Carter. The one with the AJ, he had the little braids, right?
He was the one that was always, he had like the glasses all the time, I think. Because there was also Howie.
I think Howie was the one with the little braids.
And
Honestly.
And then there was Lurch. His name is Kevin. He was my favorite because it was just like, who's that guy in the back? Oh, that's Kevin. Then they did a Backstreet Boys cruise. It's fine. There's a podcast I listened to where she wrote a book. It was her audiobook. She went on a Backstreet Boys cruise, and she was like, we thought it was going to be like a concert, and blah, blah. And she was like, it was just the Backstreet Boys singing karaoke to their own tracks on a ship, and it was fucking awesome. She goes, yeah, and then I partied with Kevin. Who knew? And I was like, wow,
that's my
what
dream.
a world. 98 Degrees Cruise, try it. He got Love is Blind. He's fine. He also hosted The Sing Off.
Yeah. He's doing well for himself. You go, Nick Lachey.
Nicholas Scott Lachey. This is going to, we brought it full circle, really, because I think in the Dallas show, like, first episode, we shit on Jessica Simpson. So we got to shit on. Did you ever watch their show?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. That was like peak me watching every show MTV was doing.
That
like
was
everything, I was like, this is so gold, new, inventive.
Yeah. Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica. I will never forget when I heard Jessica Simpson out loud say, "Is chicken of the sea chicken?" It's tuna.
Tuna, ma'am.
Tuna, ma'am. And then what was the other one? Oh, when she thought buffalo wings were buffalo. You know what? Good for her. Oh, Lachey started his professional singing career at Kings Island.
Yes.
What? Kings Island is a 300. This is just a what a fun. We need to stay on track. A Wikipedia wormhole podcast. Sign me a horse.
Nay.
That horse has an agenda. That horse is dummy thick in the back.
She thick.
She thick. She got them thick thighs. You know what they say? Thick thighs make a dick rise.
Or save lives.
I think that's Psalms 23:11. It's fine. All right. Love is Blind. Let's get into it. So the premise of Love is Blind is they get. Why don't you tell me? I'm talking a lot. It's my show, but it's okay.
The premise of Love is Blind is, I don't know the time frame, but these people go into these little pods and they get matched up and they talk to these people and they basically fall in love without ever seeing them, with the idea that your mental or your emotional connection should be stronger than your physical connection, and it will lead to longer relationships, at least for a game show. My one problem with it is they still do pick people like relatively hot. And I don't want to be mean and like, I'm not like shaming anyone, but I was like, you're still like,
I'll do it. I'll shame everyone. I'll say it. Pick ugly people for your TV show because love isn't blind if you're all hot.
Yeah, I just feel like it's like you're all, I guess, the same age group I'm fine with.
Are you kidding me? Jessica was 10 years older than him.
Oh, okay. But, okay.
That's like a running thing where she's just like, I don't really know if I could date somebody who's 10 years younger than me. There's one scene where she literally, like, the one guy walks into the pod and he's like, hey, and she just goes, ha. And I was like, oh, wow. Good for you guys. Slow clap. Jessica, peak TV. You were saying? Oh,
yeah.
you don't. Your one problem with it was they were all just too hot.
Not like, I just feel like, I don't know. It's like, love is blind, but we definitely don't want to see how shallow some people are. And it's like, that's why I'm watching reality TV. I want to see who's going to see someone and just burst out laughing.
Yeah.
Even though that would be really mean. I wouldn't want that to happen to someone.
That's a
but
good
I feel like they are
sketch
missing
idea.
the premise.
Write it down. Or I was like, I think it would have been to say love is blind. So like the one guy was like, yeah, I don't really get a lot of dates because I'm short. And I was like, you're like 5'8". Shut up. You're short for hot people. Like, but I was like, I was like, get people who are shorter than that.
Yeah, like get a guy that's like 5'2".
Yeah. Or a little person.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like I wouldn't want to see anyone get made fun of. But then those people would become villains and would get harassed on the internet, and that would be funny.
Cool.
The mean people, not the.
I love when they're like, I'm just being treated really poorly on the internet. Yeah, because you were an asshole. Like, you signed up to be on TV. That's your fault.
Yeah. Get ready.
I would love to be on reality TV. I don't think I would do terrible things. But that's what I signed up for. You know, I'm not here for. I didn't come here to make friends. On Love Is Blind, sir, you did come here to make actually a connection. It was Love Is Blind. But so I thought when I first started, because I had friends at work that were talking about this, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, it's so good." And I was like, "It's not. It's fine." But so I thought it was just that for. I think it's like 11 episodes. Okay. But I thought it was like the pod dating for 11 episodes. Where it's like, we're going to meet each other over the course of a month, have these heart-to-hearts. The guys live in one dorm, the girls live in another, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no. They speed date for 10 days.
Oh.
Yeah. So they speed date for 10 days. And then after that, like, they can choose to propose to somebody. Which is wild. And that one couple does it at the end of the first episode. 3 days in, he's like, I think I found the love of my life. And I was like, okay, Cameron, maybe slow your roll. Plot twist, the couple that got engaged first, the only couple that's still together. It's fine, don't worry about it.
Yes, they're the black girl and the white guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I did see, like,
and they were, like, the nicest. I would say, too. They were the ones that, like, when they were talking, I was like, okay, they don't suck. Mm-hmm. It's still
early,
so fast. But you know, like, is she pregnant? You haven't seen each other. That's how my family grew up sometimes. But it was so they speed date for 10 days, and then after they did that, they got to meet face to face, and then they got to go to a retreat. Yeah, where it was like a couples retreat. They could choose if they wanted to go to a retreat, I believe. So once they got to, and it was in Mexico, because why not? But they could get to know each other, and that's where it was like, okay, you obviously don't have to get married right now. We're gonna see if you end up murdering each other. It's fine. But then after that, they moved in together, and once they do that, that's where they meet each other's families and kind of go over there, and then it's the day of the wedding. So, like, I didn't realize it was a reality, like a competition TV show that, like, does the whole arc. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just like, you two got engaged, next people. Yeah. And it was like, no, it picked the people. So if you didn't find a connection, you just, like, didn't make it past the first 3 episodes.
Got it. Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. Interesting concept also. But yeah, and then on the day of the wedding, they got to do wedding, and they had to make their final decisions at the altar.
Yeah, because I saw several people just run away, and I was like, did they make them set up that whole thing just to run away? But I guess, yeah, they are.
That's their job. It's TV. We're going to spend, this is on a very elaborate set. I was a set dresser for Love Is Blind. I had to hand make. I had to go catch the pigeons myself. And then she ran away. But it said, so there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there were 6 couples that got engaged. And then out of those 6, two of them got married, and they are still together. There's one couple that didn't get married, but they're together.
Yes, I saw that.
And then there's 3 couples that just didn't do it. Jessica and Mark. Mark and Jessica were my favorite, because he was like, I don't care, I'm 24. Like, it's fine. I don't care. I'm 24. You're 34. Love ain't a number. Age is just a number. Sometimes. But yeah, then Jessica, and then, well, that was the other interesting thing. So I'm saying this, like, I watched 1 episode, and I know most of these people, like, I know who they are in my brain. I have to watch this fucking show. But so there was Barnett.
Yes, I remember him.
He was the one who was like, I don't know, I just think y'all have a sexy voice. He might have actually been Southern. But he was just like, yeah, he was the one that everyone was like, 3 of the girls were like, I just really like that one guy. And he was just like, yeah, I like 6 of those girls. One of them is going to be my wife. Cool. And then, so Jessica was torn, Shane. She was torn between Barnett and Mark, because Mark was 10 years younger, and she set very strict guidelines for herself. She only dates people who are 1 to 5 years older, She only dates athletes. I watched one fucking episode of this, and I know everything
Only dates
about
athletes?
Jessica. Because she's
35,
athletic. That's the thing.
I'm like, what do you define athlete? Like, they played soccer in high school? Or like, I'm looking for an athlete. Like, you're almost 40. You gotta start broadening.
Oh, I was like, I don't know what word you're going for.
Broadening your choices there.
Oh, God, it's so good. But, yeah, and she only dated athletes because she was athletic. So she wanted them to be athletic. And I was like, okay. And then you had Mark, who, well, I don't know if he was, I feel like all the guys were athletic. Like, in the first episode, they're like, how many push-ups can you do? And then they're like they're holding one guy up like he's doing a keg stand, but he's just doing vertical push-ups. And I was like, why? Unnecessary. Who needs to be upside down doing push-ups? Nobody. Not even in these trying times. But what was I talking about? I got distracted by push-ups.
Jessica and her 2 picks.
But I love that Jessica was like, she's Southern. She was just torn between these two. Every character I have is Nancy Grace. I'm just torn between these two gentlemen. But then they would get back to the dorm and the guys would be like, oh, I really like Jessica. And they'd be like, but I really like Jessica. And so they were like, well, what do we do? Do we fight? I was like, fight. Could you imagine if they were like, Barnett is not here anymore? Oh, did he leave? No, he died. He died. Mark killed him. And you said yes. So happy engagement. It's so good. But yeah, I love the moment where they're like, you literally won't meet them until that door opens and you're just like, please don't be ugly. Please don't be ugly. Please don't. Because then they all start doing the thing where they're like, I love him. I love his personality. He's great. He's wonderful. Oh my God. What if he's not pretty? And it's like, first of all, of course he's pretty. Will and I were talking about, because we were watching it together, he was like, they have to be pretty. He's like, no, if you're in the guys' dorm and you look around, you're all fit, you're all attractive, you're all not dump trucks. Then you look at the girls' dorm and they're all pretty, they're all, they weren't all like model shaped, but they were all like not unattractive. Like they were all very beautiful. So it was like, okay, clearly they didn't like get the bald guys in the other room that are just like that just voice actors. Could you imagine? Oh. They're just like, I love his voice. I think it's just really pretty. And it's just like, and they're like, hi, I'm your husband. She's like, cool. And then she dies. Oh,
that should be actually a dating show. It's like pushing them to the limits. Like, what shitty thing can they say? Or what shitty thing can they do for you to like put up with it? They're like, they said something that was kind of homophobic. Yeah.
He's just like, he's really cute and he's Catholic, but he's just a little racist.
Yeah.
He's not like real racist.
He's only racist when he's drunk, okay?
He's only racist during football. God, so problematic, controversial, yet brave.
That's the name of the show.
So Trixie Mattel on her YouTube channel, she's always like, can I say something controversial yet brave? Why isn't that drag queen wearing boobs? So stupid. So this brought me up. So when we were talking about like pretty girl, ugly guy type dynamic, did you ever watch a show called Beauty and the Geek? Did you ever watch it, Shane?
I know what that show was. Yeah. I don't know if I really watched it.
So this was the explanation is the premise of the show consists of a group of beauties, in quotes, young women who relied primarily on their looks, and a group of geeks, young men who've relied primarily on intellect rather than social aptitude or looks. Nerds. Who are paired up to compete as couples for a shared $250,000. Each beauty lives together in a room with her geek during the course of the competition. There are challenges where one is testing the beauties on an academic subject and where the geeks compete in more popular social realm type challenges. The winners of the challenges select 2 teams to compete against each other, and the team with the fewer answers gets eliminated. So they like they pair them up, and then it's like, but maybe they'll fall in love. And I don't remember. I only watched a couple episodes of. Did any of them stay together?
I don't know.
Shane, I thought you were the expert on Beauty and the Geek. But it's like, but I also love that it's like, I love the little, I should know this. What's the little thing that goes across the bottom of the screen?
Chiron.
Yes, the Chiron. Where where it's like, they just make them look like buffoons. Where they're like, this is Joe. Has never been on a date.
Aww.
Like, where they're just like, this is Trevor. Stupid version. Like, what is happening?
Liz with her mom.
Yeah. Well, this one's like cocktail waitress, life-size Barbie doll, NBA dancer, beer spokesmodel, has never been on a date, Mensa member, vice president of the Dukes of Hazzard fan club, assistant scoutmaster, has kissed 3 girls, medical student in functional neurology. And they're just like, we're going to pair you with the aspiring fashion expert. We're going to see what happens. But Caitlin and Chuck win, obviously.
Duh.
Who's Caitlin? Oh, the aspiring fashion expert and the medical student. Yes. I hope they stayed together. Let's do some research. Interesting. Note, this isn't what I want. Did they stay together? Wikipedia. Hey, Siri. Never mind. Oh, they have this all over the world, though. They have it in Bulgarian. They're just like
watch that.
punching each other in the face the whole time. Russia, they're just this is me being ridiculous. Oh, that one's called, I can't pronounce that. That's not a letter. That's Bulgarian. They have Beauty and the Geek Australia. They have Beauty and the Nerd in Germany. So Beauty and the Nerd. And then in Turkey, they have Gusful Didai.
Oh.
They're really reaching out.
Really
Never
getting
mind.
international.
I was just thinking about, you know who needs to host a show? Jennifer Coolidge. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
It's Stifler's mom,
Yes.
the Legally Blonde,
Mm-hmm.
A Cinderella Story.
Yes.
Ooh, I just want hot dogs. Yeah, I mean, look, that was a lot that we've got. Do you have any other notes? Would you ever do, let's pretend, okay. Let's pretend Seth is dead. Let's not. We'll pretend Seth is in the other room.
Okay.
He's not. So you get an opportunity to go, which of these love game shows would you want to be on the most?
Ooh. So we've talked about the Newlywed Game.
The Newlywed Game, the dating show, Love Connection, Too Hot to Handle.
Well, my first thought on all these shows was I went to a private school, so I would have totally found one of my celibate friends, put them on Too Hot to Handle, we have an agreement to split the money. Like, that was my first thought.
Look at me. Look
I
at
was
me.
like,
Look at me. We are not going to we're going to like it.
You made a promise to God. Remember that, okay?
You remember that? While you have Chloe in the corner going, no, I just like the way his teeth move. Oh, so good.
I don't know. I guess Love is Blind is the least trashy. I think I would like to go on Room Raiders just because I feel like I'm nosy.
We didn't really talk. So talk a little bit about, we didn't get into Room Raiders. I kind of went into Beauty and the Geek, but.
That's fine. I forgive you. Room Raiders was just, I think it was 3. Like, it would just have this girl and she would go through 3 guys' rooms and she would pick one based on what their room was like.
My literal nightmare.
It was gross. It was disgusting. But I remember guys going through the girls' room and just, like, not picking them for, like, the dumbest things. Like, I remember this is imprinted in my mind. You know, like, when you have flip-flops, it leaves, like, your mark, like, your feet marks. The guy was like, her feet must be disgusting. I'm not picking her. And she's like, have you ever worn sandals? And he was like, and then the girl comes in. And he's just like, you're disgusting. And he leaves.
She's like, sir, I found 30 empty water bottles and an empty condom.
She's like, there was jizz everywhere,
Yeah.
sir. Like,
I'm sorry. There was a bottle of KY next to a jar of Smuckers. Like, what are you doing? And he's just like, but your feet are gross.
She's like, I have to go call the cops now.
They're like, I found a dead body in your room. Yeah, but your feet are gross. Okay.
Yeah, but you had clothes everywhere. I don't like a girl too obsessed with fashion. That's why I killed that other girl.
Oh my God, this looks insane. I just found I just looked up like a little YouTube video. First of all, how 2000s is that?
Right.
Oh my God.
So many popped collars.
Oh, they get to watch it.
Oh yes, yeah, they're watching.
They get to watch it happen.
And they would take a black light to like your sheets and stuff.
Oh, Felicia, no.
Yeah.
Well, this girl has a notebook that says, "I'm so gothic, I'm dad." She's also wearing a tiny top hat. Look at her.
Yes.
She's so gothic, she's dead.
Oh, yeah, because they would do like a mock kidnapping and throw them in the back of that van and be like, we're going to go.
You're on Room
stuff.
Raiders. Jesus
Pretty
Christ.
much
First of all,
just like that.
I'm just going to say, looking at this set, I've seen this set before, and I'll tell you it was not on Room Raiders. This is the most casting couch bullshit I have ever seen in my life. What is that? What are those? Oh, she has... Oh, are they all going through? That's a kitchen.
Oh,
This
they
is
might go
super
through your
exciting for
house.
everybody listening, but this is going to be for the video. He has a towel that says, "Where's Mom now that I need her?" Okay, look, I thought I was like, I'm doing okay as an adult. These people are sad. They have rubber gloves. They're cleaning a whole bathroom. Why are they in his bathroom? Is it the whole house?
I feel like, yeah, sometimes they do go
those are
through
condoms.
the whole house.
They found condoms. They found condoms.
Condoms.
They got condoms. You don't think they don't get the chance to clean or anything? I guess if it's like a mock kidnapping, they're like,
Yeah, that was like the thing that
surprise.
they're like, I'm like, what if someone had like an exam that day and they're just like,
What
no,
if I had an extremely aggressive dog that fucked your shit up, Carol? Also, why is there a girl named Carol going through my room? I just want it to be three old ladies that, will you be my grandma? Let's do a show real fast called Will You Be My Grandma?
That'd be so precious.
Oh, so good. All right, Hannah, we're going to end this episode of The Dallas Show, the podcast. I forgot what it was called for a second. It's my name. By playing a game called, what's this called? Does Dallas Like? We're going to just take a beat. Okay, Hannah, we're going to end this episode of The Dallas Show, the podcast, with a game I like to call Does Dallas Like? Now, I have a list of things here, and I'm going to just rapid fire say them at you, and you have to tell me, does Dallas like these things? Yes or no, okay?
Okay.
It's very easy. Do you understand the rules?
Yes.
This isn't Love is Blind.
Okay.
Is it too hot to handle?
Probably, but I'm ready for it.
Love Connection. Okay. Bill.
No.
Sequences.
Yes.
Raw potatoes.
No.
Proclamations.
Yes.
Priorities.
Yes.
Clue.
Yes.
Pain.
No.
Flushing.
No.
Neutral.
No.
You heard it here first. I hate Flushing. Hannah, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Where can people find you other than crying in your living room?
Yeah, these days you can find me crying in my living room, talking to my cat and whatever her new nickname of the day is. You also can find me on 2X Sketch. That's the number 2, then 2 X's Sketch, on Facebook, and YouTube.
Whoa, what an episode, am I right? This is a thanks for everybody who helped make the Dallas Show and the Dallas Show podcast possible. To all of our backers, thank you very much. Specifically, Kimmer Callahan, thank you so much for everything that you've done to help with Static Copy Island. Thank you for helping produce the Dallas Show. And thank you to, what does this say here? Oh, Dallas, you're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Goodbye.